Welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings, with me, Gretta Chamberlain, and the Realm of Beings. Shifting Impressions, which is one of the vehicles that supports the transmission of the Realm of Beings, is here to assist you in delving into your being by providing numerous topics and discussions for you to intake as you deepen your connection with your inner world. Shifting Impressions is here to assist you in strengthening yourself as you excavate to understand your true nature. Join us today and learn to shift your mindset, shift your thoughts, and shift your focus to recreate your life and produce a new you. Shifting Impressions starts now.
Good morning, listeners. Welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. I'm Carol, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Kathy and Greta, and of course, always with the Realm of Beings. We are happy to be here on Transformation Network every Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific Time. Listeners, thank you for joining us and being part of this conversation. These conversations will help you to look at your life, your creation of reality, to see what you're creating, how it shows up in your life, and help to guide you on the correct perspective on how to shift what you are creating. So welcome, listeners. If you're new to the show, each week Greta is given a quotation from the Realm of Beings, which we discuss rather lively, and then halfway through the podcast, the realm will join us to discuss it more. This week, the quote is, "What zone are you in? You always have the choice to remain in high vibration or to function in low vibration. Both of these avenues are lessons for each one of you." Ladies, who would like to start? Because I think I'm in the end zone.
Twilight zone when I'm with Greta.
There you go.
I never know what's going to jump out at me. I never know what to expect from the realm. I don't know. But anyway, that's my mental state. But I'm just trying to figure out, how do you get into the zone? And I thought of men seem to be able to do that a whole lot faster than women, from my perspective. Because when I used to try to fuss with my husband, my late husband, he would put that newspaper up and just zone me right on out. He was like, what'd you say? Did you say something? So I assumed he was in a zone, but just not in my zone. Now, I'm going to drop it at that.
Wow. Carol, you can really say something.
Well, no, I was going to say what resonated with me here was the choices, that we are always given the choice to be in a high vibrational state or a low vibrational state. So to me, the zone is not zoning out, but zoning good or low, high or low. And as one of my favorite songs has the line in it, "It's not too late to change the road you're on." So Led Zeppelin.
Oh, I never listened. I zoned him out. I never listened to that.
No, this is from years ago, Kathy.
Doesn't matter if it was 100 years ago, Kathy. That was just
Like
I never zoned into that kind of music. I zoned into Nancy Wilson, Dionne Warwick, those kinds of Esther Phillips. That was me. But I mean, I understand what the quote is saying. You have choices. So if you want to focus on low stuff, then that's what you're going to get.
Right. The thing is that most people feel that quite a few people I've met, let me say this, when they go down into what we would call the valley of condition, or sometimes I say, okay, you're going down the rabbit hole and having tea with Alice. They can kind of feel bad about themselves. And the thing is to rise above all of that if you can. And one woman asked me this morning, well, how do you do that? You know, how do you rise from a low vibration to a high vibration? And that's basically saying those affirmations and those QDRs and creating your QDRs, because it's when we look at it on the paper, it appears as words. But the thing that we want to understand is that those words are energy. So if you say them enough, you're practicing putting that energy inside of you, not outside of you, but inside of you. Because we've talked in the program that we always say, don't worry about the outside, deal with the inside, and don't worry, period. You know, but the zone is, do you want to be in a zone of high vibration or do you want to be a zone in low vibration? And tell you, ask that truth, I think everybody on this planet flip-flops.
Yep, I was going to say.
You know, I can't even begin to think of anyone that stays in high vibration all the time. I can't even fathom that. I know I don't, you know, and I create things for myself. Sometimes I just have to sit back and laugh at myself, you know. Because I wonder, I said, wow, how did I create that? You know, but I did it, you know, but the thing is, I don't have to stay there. You know, like
I think that's the big part. That's the most important part. You don't have to stay there, Greta. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that was, I'm glad you said that, Kathy, because to me, this is like a party. You know, you go to a party and you don't like the vibe and you don't like being at the party. What are you going to do?
Leave.
Absolutely.
But if you have to stay with your girlfriends and you feel like you have to support, you're making another choice. But I mean, you know, sometimes you feel like you can leave and sometimes you feel like maybe you can't. Now, that's I'm speaking from just my observations, even in my life. Like sometimes I get so angry, like, why am I afraid of driving on the road I've never driven on before? That's one of my little hang-ups. And I understand I'm creating that, but every time I try to uncreate it, it's like I'm stuck in that zone of being afraid to come out of that zone and drive on that road I don't know. It's like the road not taken, like you said, Carol, but you opened up with what was that Led Zeppelin thing you said?
It says it's never too late to change the road you're on.
So there you go.
Or take an Uber.
There you go. You know, Kathy said the word afraid a number of times, and I think that's a big, important point to get across to the listeners, that fear will always get you into low vibration. So sometimes overcoming fear is the best decision.
Carol, fear is not going to get you into low vibration. If you got fear, you're already there.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, and
I was afraid you were going to say that.
I'm glad I can support you, Carol. So it's understanding. I think another important part about this, I was changing my thoughts. Another important part about this is don't beat up on yourself because you're in a low vibration. Don't beat up on yourself. Because if you beat up on yourself, then you're concentrating on not changing. Because you're so focused on staying there, you can't build up the energy to move you out of that state. So therefore, it's extremely important that you don't beat up on yourself. You just say, okay, I created this. Focus on uncreating it instead of wallowing in the creation of it. Yeah, you got to come out of that. Oh, I hear Kathy.
Yeah, but no. Because to me, I have to kind of process it, synthesize it in my way. Because and I think of being in the zone. Like if I'm working on designing something, like when you were designing yourself, you are straight focused on that. And it's like oh my God, is it 4 o'clock already? I mean, it's like you're so focused and so concentrating on what you're doing, and it's just making you. I don't know if it's filling you could be filling you with joy, whatever. How do we translate that into practicing moving into that the higher vibrational side? Because it seems like sometimes the reason we flip-flop, to me, is because we have to learn how to move from that zone into a different zone or different reality, whatever, as far as your thoughts and emotions and how you think about yourself and feel about yourself. But it's that intense focus, like, that you can get involved in. Like, if you're learning how to roller skate, you're just focused on that. So how do we translate that to focusing on what we're talking about?
How do we translate it? The thing is that utilization of we love ourselves unconditionally, we forgive unconditionally. We love ourselves unconditionally. We feel ourselves loving ourselves unconditionally. We forgive ourselves unconditionally. We thank you. We thank you. That is such a powerful affirmation. I highly suggest that people in the audience use that at least once a day. Because
honestly, I've forgotten that one, and that was the first thing you ever taught me.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I say it every night before I go to bed.
Yeah, because it's energy. See, because we don't see energy, we see the effects of energy. So we don't necessarily say, okay, that's energy I'm dealing with. But when you say, even if you're saying at the beginning of your day, Our Father who art in heaven, or you're doing Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, that is all energy, and all those things, will assist you in getting to that space because it's your belief system. See, if your belief system is saying to you, if I say Nam Myoho Renge Kyo and I do it 100 times, if I'm chanting that, and it's going to bring about change in my life, then it's going to bring about change in your life. If you say the Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, and you are committed to the fact that this is going to help you change your vibration, then that's what it's going to do. See, the thing is, you got to believe in it, that it's working for you. I remember I told you guys once about my friend Marcia, who's no longer in this world with us, but she came to class, a metaphysical class, and she was telling us, she said, I had a headache last night. And she said, I had no aspirin. It was late at night. I didn't want to go out to the grocery store or drugstore or whatever. They were probably closed. So she said, I went into the bathroom and I took a vitamin and I held it up into the mirror in the bathroom. And I said to myself, this is medicine. This is an aspirin. And it is going to get rid of your headache. When you take this, your headache is gone. So she took, now remember, now it's just a vitamin. She took that thing. She made herself believe it. You see, belief is not in there, but that plays a very important part of this. What do you believe? Mm. You see, so she came to class, she said the headache was gone. You see, she cured herself by her belief that that aspirin was going to work. I mean, not aspirin, but the vitamin was going to work as an aspirin. So she got rid of her malady. And this is the thing, what you believe is it.
What you believe is what you achieve.
But how do you change your belief? I mean, if they're so embedded in you and they keep cycling back in different ways, at different times, I should say, they keep reverberating back to you. How do we stop that? How do you, and when you say, well, if it goes away, then if you change, then you know that you believed. But for a lot of people out there, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around that whole concept because it can be somewhat, I don't want to say evasive, just murky, very murky. Like, so how do I change my belief systems? What do I have to do? And what do you do?
Well, the thing is, the first thing you have to do before you even get into how you're going to do it, one thing is to decide that you don't want whatever you're experiencing.
Okay.
That's
One.
The first step. You got to say, I don't want this anymore. I don't want to deal with this anymore. Then after that, and that's sometimes with some people, that'll work instantaneously.
Sure will.
I've seen people, they've gone to churches. I remember I went to a church when I guess I must have been in my 30s. And I wasn't doing this kind of work either then, but I went to the church and with a friend, two friends of mine, they said, well, Greta, he's going to call you up. He's going to, they didn't say he was going to call me up. They said, he's going to call different people up. Then he's going to touch your head and you're just going to pass out. So I said to myself, ooh, I wonder what that's like to just have somebody touch your head and pass out, So, but then I said, nah, being my little nymphy, having that nymphy personality, I wanted to make it challenging. So he called on me. He said, he didn't know my name. He just pointed at me. He said, you come up. And of course, I was just so happy. I walked up in there. And then my whole goal was I don't care what he was going to do. I was not going to pass out. So he put his head, he was waiting for me to pass out. And I just stood right there. And I said to myself, I refuse. I am not going anywhere.
So did he hit you with a bat?
No. I just remember, I don't even know what he said, but eventually I said to myself, I said, wow, I went into saviorhood because I said, I don't want him to feel bad because he's been showing other people passing out. And now here I am, saying I'm not going to pass out, which I didn't. So then I said, nah, let me help the guy. So I did it again and I passed out.
He said, thank you, Jesus. We have been saved.
You have been saved.
Absolutely. Or Allah. Or
what most
whoever it was.
Work from that premise.
Well, that was I allowed myself then to believe in their belief system. I adopted and adapted myself to their belief system that when this minister touches your head, you're going to pass out.
Greta, you actually passed out? You didn't pretend to pass out?
No, I passed out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to just dramatically
I thought pretend. You did that too. I thought you said,
yeah.
No, I passed out. I let the man, because you know what it is? See, now this is the other thing. It's energy.
Mm-hmm.
He sent energy. I accepted the energy. So then I literally passed out and went into darkness.
Wow.
That's what I remember. And then I remember waking up. And of course, my friends were saying, now you believe. And of course, the only thing I could say was, yes, I do, because I didn't want them to feel bad. You see, that's the saviorhood part of it. I didn't want them to feel bad, so I just let myself pass out. But I could have stood there and he could have kept on giving me energy, trying to make me pass out, and I never would have passed out. I don't know what he would have done then, because that would have thrown a quirk in his works. So I didn't want to do that. So then I said, okay, go ahead, Greta, go ahead and pass out. You know, because a friend of mine, she was at a Catholic charismatic service, and there was a priest there who he would touch her. He would touch everybody, and everybody would pass out. So the first time she did it, she said she passed out. It was wonderful. You know, she saw herself like in heaven with the angels and stuff, and it's very peaceful, right? Okay, so then the next time she went, of course, she got in the line to pass out again. But I
can't imagine.
I don't know what she created. But she said, she came back, she said, I'm not doing that anymore. I said, why? What happened? And she said, I wound up in this horrible place. And she had created to wind up in a place that was very similar to the stereotypic environment of hell. So she decided that she wasn't going there anymore. So I said,
let's show you the power of the mind, though. And a lot of times we don't realize how powerful our minds are and how powerful our thoughts are. And I'm using powerful colloquially. It's just we just don't understand that we have that. Every one of us has that ability.
absolutely.
And we
Absolutely.
just believe that we can't. We limit ourselves. We limit everything about us. And, even limiting that we can stay focused or zone into the high vibrational space we want to occupy or stay in. Because, it's almost like I feel as though everyone on this planet would just we're recycling ourselves and just going through the same thing all over and over again until enough of us say, enough of this. And then, just doesn't happen anymore. When are you going to be sick of war? Stop creating it.
Well, see, then that war business takes us into, we would say, let me say this about war, that you brought that up. If you are on the right side and the other group is on the left side, okay? The group on the left side believes that they are right,
Mm-hmm.
and that the other side B, is wrong. Then side B feels that they are right and side A is wrong. You see, so what then does that say about high vibration, low vibration? What it says about that is that you can think that this is high because you're judging it to be high.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can think that it's low because you judge it to be low. So we've got to have judgment of that. So in being high or low and learning, what is the main lesson? And learning that high and low give us lessons.
Right.
The lesson itself then becomes for us to look at what we do as an isness. Just an isness. This is. That's it. We don't give any connotation to it whatsoever. It just is. Because then it takes you into honoring and loving the other person unconditionally. And that means part of that loving unconditionally, as we've stated on other podcasts, is that you accept that individual to create their own reality. And what reality they create is okay.
Right.
Therefore, you don't have to judge it. And you don't have to judge the person. You don't have to say, this person is terrible. This person is wonderful. You don't have to say anything. You just, they are. This is. That's all it is. It is. Because the force does not judge. See, judgment is an illusion. So when we talk about high vibration, low vibration, I think I can't wait to hear what the realm is going to say about it, because it's their quote. But see, we could interpret that quote in many ways.
Yes, we
Say,
can.
I'm high vibration. Ooh,
And which means I'm not, I'm there. Right. Right.
I'm high vibration. I'm going to the fifth dimension. You're low vibration, so you're staying here.
In the third. Yeah, you're going to stay right here in the third. You're going to recycle yourself right back into the third dimension. Even though I know I exist simultaneously in all reality, because I am the force itself.
Absolutely. So therefore, once we adjust to that, and see, that's a mighty work, to say that you are the force, to see yourself as that takes a lot of understanding, because that means you have to accept that you're one with everything that has been created, regardless if you liked what was created or not.
But you know what came to me? Just looking at the quote again, when I saw it, it was just very much like that. I said, take the judgment out. And now when I watch the news, I'm like, I'm not good. I just say I'm experiencing remaining emotionally neutral. I'm just going to be neutral. I have to be neutral. I cannot get into who's right, who's wrong. I'm just observing it, and then I just flip the switch and go somewhere else. And that's very important for me to do that, because that's me actually putting to work what the quote is saying. I can choose to get all emotionally involved in that and get brought down into the low vibrational stuff. But how does it make me feel? If it doesn't bring me joy, I have decided Kathy ain't doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Just not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Carol.
I just said this morning to someone, we were talking about high vibrational lessons and low vibrational lessons, because I've had some challenges this week. And it hit me that sometimes we're learning more from the low vibrational energies than we are from the high. I think usually, I don't know if I'm correct in that, but for me,
that's what I was trying to say before. Yeah, we need both. We need both.
Man, some low self that I've created. As soon as Carol said that, I don't know if the audience heard me, but I went, whew.
I heard you.
Yeah, you heard me, right?
And I saw you. You went, whew.
Yeah, because I have created some doozies, some real doozies.
Haven't we all?
What I have to, and I've said this on the podcast before, for me, for Gretta, I've got to practice joy. Now, joy is high vibrational to me.
Right.
To be joyful. So, therefore, I have to practice it, because I can take myself into a place that I say, why in heaven's name am I here? Why did I put myself in this place? So then I have to counter that, and I have to say, okay, let's be joyful, Gretta. I talk to myself sometimes. Come on, Gretta, love yourself.
That means I'm not crazy.
Just sometimes. I talk to myself all the time.
Yeah, but you know what?
I've had arguments with myself.
Sometimes things get kind of scary, though.
I've actually had arguments with myself, and I've lost. So I don't know. Ladies, we're at that point where we're going to need to take a short break so that the realm can come in and expound on this wonderful quote that they've given us. I ask you to please stick around. We'll be right back, and we'll see you then. Welcome back, listeners. Thank you for staying with us. We have reached the point in the podcast where we will hear from the realm themselves about the quote they have given us. So, realm, are you with us?
Absolutely, positively, we are here.
And we love having you here. So, this is the quote you had shared with Gretta. What zone are you in? You always have the choice to remain in high vibration or to function in low vibration. Both of these avenues are lessons for each one of you. Take it away, realm.
You know, people think high vibration is the greatest thing, you know, and low vibration is the worst possible thing that you could be. But in actuality, they're really equal, you see. Because one of you, and I think it was Kathy, said that we need both. You know, in your Asian culture here on this planet, you have the terms yin and yang.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the opposite. But the thing here is that in this reality that you are functioning in as a human being, both of these were given to you to experience. because it provides you with an opportunity first to decide how you want to be with your life. If it was all high vibration, what are you going to do? Everybody's doing the same old thing. If it was low vibration, everybody would be doing the same old thing. So you have variety here. And you have things within your reality that support you in those decisions and choices that you make, regardless if they're high or low. What is high or low? Nothing really. High or low is nothing. It's just the isness of the experience. And we suggest to the audience not to get caught up in the terms high vibration, low vibration. Because what's high is low, what's low is high. Now, how come I can say that to you all? Which means that everything is what?
Is oneness.
Absolutely.
One.
So that as high.
So there's no such thing as high or low.
Absolutely.
It's perception. Absolutely. There are things that are more favorable, perhaps, that we would like to choose over things we consider less favorable. But again, that's by individuals' perceptions.
But see, look what influences those perceptions. You see, it's so many things that you have here in this reality that encourage you to judge. They encourage you to look at things and say, this is good, this is bad, this is evil, this is wonderful, this is terrible. Look how many words you have in the English language and in any language that's being spoken on this planet has two ways of looking at life. The language even supports good or bad or judgment or non-judgmental. The language supports that. So the thing is to recognize, to be the best that you can be as you perceive it to be. Be your best at whatever you perceive that you want to be. If you have decided to be homeless, do it well. If you've decided...
Does that mean get the best cardboard box? Or
It could be, Carol. It could be. It's going to be judgment. See, you just did to find the best cardboard box. You see how easy you fell into that.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
The whole language is set up to do that. But be the best. Be the best at it. And then we let the person be. I'm sure that somebody's going to say, well, what about the people who are in prison that have done all these things? Well, the only thing we can say to that is that anybody who's in prison chose to be in prison, chose to create something that was going to put them in prison, and chose to punish themselves. Why? They wanted to be in an incarcerated situation because they didn't love themselves in the first place. You see. And then there are all kinds of things that go with that. Even there are people that have chosen to be incarcerated and have not done what they were incarcerated for. How about that? They placed themselves behind bars and did not do a thing.
But Realm, they've also, in some instances, created something called the Innocence Project, where those people that were wrongfully or chose to be incarcerated are now creating through this project to get out of the prison system, which
But
is
you
interesting.
see, yes, that is true. They do have various projects here in this country that assist, but you have to create to be assisted.
Correct. That is correct.
So,
And Ralph,
yes,
didn't they create to be in the incarcerated state in the first place as a way of learning a lesson?
Yep.
because it is a lesson. All the steps all along the way for them to get to that point is a lesson.
Mm.
All the way to get to the point that you wind up in the hospital is a lesson.
Mm.
Notice that if going to jail, look at the similarities. Going to jail, going into the hospital for a debilitating disease. Look how similar that is.
Mm. That's a good comparison.
And a nursing home also.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the thing is for you to be the best that you can be. And how can you do that?
Love yourself.
Absolutely. Because that's a truism. It doesn't matter what your cultural beliefs are, what your familiar beliefs are, what your religious beliefs are. The underlying thing for that is loving self. Because you're not preparing yourselves to stay in this situation. And what I mean in this situation, I'm talking about life in itself. You're not preparing yourself to be in life. You are preparing yourself for the return to who you actually really are.
The force.
Absolutely. Mm. This is a return to that understanding. You know, and the direction for the return is inward. Sometimes you can have someone that has committed maybe a murder. But from that experience, they turn to what you call God. Just from that experience. They supported the other person because the other person was ready to move on into their next transitional portal. But this person then who performed the act, then can go into a whole guilt about it, but yet turn to be what you call holy. You see. So it's the isness of something. And it is the learning about the isness. And then it is the learning, what am I going to do with this isness? Am I incorporating it into my life, or am I not incorporating it into my life? That is the isness.
Can I ask a question then, Raul? Of course you can, Kathy. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. That means that I can realize and recognize that I am the force if I stay or even on the low vibrational side if both are equal. There's no, right?
Absolutely. Who said that somebody who is functioning in low vibration isn't the force? Everybody is the force. It's the force if you go out there and rob 5 banks. You're still the force.
It's just recognizing and remembering that you are, and that you are on an experiential journey to moving inside, moving within, from within, that we are divine beings, that we are the force itself.
Right. The person that you see robbing the 5 banks has a personality that it created to put up in its mind and in its realities that robbing a bank is good. Now, do you think somebody's going to rob a bank because they think it's a bad idea?
No.
They're going to rob the bank because they think it's a good idea.
And they can get away with it.
Right. And will get away with it if they believe that they will get away with it. But if they have any sense of doubt, they're not going to get away with it worth the darn. Eventually they will be caught. But that person who's robbing those 5 banks is the force, but has adopted and adapted itself to a personality that believes, notice the word I'm using, that believes that robbing a bank is the best thing going. So they go out and they do it until they create to get caught.
Mm-hmm.
You see. And then when they get caught, then you'll probably hear the person say, I don't think that this was such a good idea. Because now I'm experiencing, I have created to experience another part to robbing the bank. See, robbing the bank and thinking that I'm going to, somebody will rob a bank and get $10,000 and they'll be so happy. They will think that they have the most money in the world. Somebody else will rob a bank and say, give me $1 million. They will think that it's the best thing going. But look at what it is, 10,000 or $1 million, it doesn't matter. They did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
They robbed a bank.
There are some people, some very powerful humans on this planet that rob everyone all of the time of just about everything that makes you even comfortable or a human. And they think it's good. They think it's good to put profits ahead of children and people. But I know it's support create support, because it couldn't happen if those that they were affecting decided they weren't going to experience that. So we empower and enable those to do that also. I understand that. But just
plus that's a judgment.
Yeah.
That's the judgment call that you gave in that example, but that was a good example. Good example of judgment, you see. So judgment plays such a big part. But the thing is, I'm sure we're going to be coming to a close soon. So the big thing is to note isness, low vibration, high vibration. There's a oneness to that, not a separation to it, but a oneness, low vibration, high vibration. There's no need to weep and wail because you're in a low vibration. There's no need to think, ooh, I'm so much better than you. I am a high vibrational being, and I am rising to the 5th dimension.
I forgot you were at that expo realm. My favorite one was the Atlanteans.
Oh my, that was an interesting group.
Yes, it was.
Atlanteans, there's so many different groups. So many different groups, and each group is doing something different. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine
separateness?
There is no separateness. That's what's
right.
So interesting about this whole thing. And like being human, Of course you're human because you're accepting certain lessons that are, and one of the lessons, since we're on this, I want to get on the soapbox about this. One of the lessons is to learn to love yourself. That is your lesson, the main one. Your purpose, learn to love yourself. That's your purpose. People are always saying, tell me my purpose. They think it's going to be this lofty thing. My purpose is to save humanity. No, your purpose is to deal with you.
Yeah.
To deal with you. That is the purpose. And the purpose, part of that, is to love yourself regardless of where you are. Regardless if you're the one in the cardboard box, or you're the one in the castle, or you're the one imprisoned or incarcerated. The thing is, within each one of those interesting experiences, because one is not better than the other.
Mm-hmm.
The illusion is that one is better than the other. But the actuality of it is, none of it is better than the other. They're all equal. They're a lesson to be learned. But what is the lesson of it? Love self.
Mm.
Love.
It might sometimes feel easier to save humanity than to love yourself.
Well, look at all those people who want to save people.
Mm.
And they think that they're doing the biggest thing going. I'm saving this person. And then they get upset when the very person they're trying to save turns around and bites them in the butt.
Mm-hmm.
You see, the very person they want to save will be the person that will say, you're a terrible individual. Look what you've done. And blame you for their reality. You see. So it's just this whole earthly business is a bowl of lesson. That's all it is. It's like, you know how you put those chances. I've seen chances that go into these fish bowls and you have to pull it out. So then you go and you say, okay, it's my turn. Uh-oh, I pulled out incarceration. Do I want this one? No, I'll put it back. I'm going to pull another one. Oh, being a millionaire. Okay, I'll take this one because it looks good. You turn it around on the back to read the fine print. Ah! Some people, when they get to be a millionaire, say, I wish I had never experienced it. Because you didn't look at the fine print when you took the ticket.
Wow, that's like the Twilight Zone weeks that I opened.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Being a human is like living in the Twilight Zone. Oh my God, it's like you don't know. You just never know. And you know, it's all tying back into the other discussions and things that we've had about the grass. Is the grass really greener on the other side? But I think the lesson I'm picking up today is when we don't judge the choices that people make, and we don't really judge the choices that we make. I just think things would just go a whole lot smoother, to be quite honest with you. And I have this big kind of lofty little answer, but you know, I got confused in my own brilliance again, and I forgot how I was going to phrase it, Carol. But it just seems as though we don't know how to enjoy the choices of other people, or just not to enjoy them, but just to, that's not the right word, to observe and decide, is that a choice I want to make? I don't think so. But if that person wants to do that, I'm okay with that. And
acceptance.
And
it's
acceptance.
Just acceptance.
Acceptance. That's the word. Thank you. Just let them experience.
Right.
So are we on time, Carol?
We're still okay. I haven't had any warning from the producer. So
June the 14th.
I found a way of, we talked about good versus bad, and there's really, oh, okay.
You see, you can see it. It's called Preparing for the New Realities of Extraterrestrial Existence, Making Contact. Our guest on June the 14th is going to be Alan Steinfeld. He's going to be with us on Friday, June the 14th, so stay tuned.
He also has a podcast on Transformation Network. Gretta had guested with him, and listeners, please check him out also. I think it's called New Realities is the name of his podcast. It's very interesting.
But he is not connected to Transformation Network.
No, he just has a podcast.
On YouTube, yes.
Oh, YouTube. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I was unaware of that.
Yes.
So you may want to check out some of his, and don't forget to check ours out. There's 3 years of Gretta Chamberlain in the Realm of Beings. And next week, so I can just get this out and over with. Oh my God, look at the title of this one. Oh, we go from what zone are you into? Mommy Dearest. Woo, Mommy Dearest. I saw that movie. Ooh, that woman was a piece of work. As a mom, it can be challenging to not focus on saving your children at every turn. Move from loving them to loving them unconditionally and understand that they create their own realities as well as you do. So We're going to be discussing the life of motherhood and the relationship of moms to their children. As my grandmother would say, the children. So that's all I have to say, Realm. So go ahead, Carol. I'm turning it back over to you.
Oh, yeah. No, I was just going to mention when we talk about whether we're judging people as good or bad, or the murderer that was brought up earlier, that we would look at that person and think, well, they're definitely low vibration, but we're taught now that we still have to love them.
Right.
And I had found that to be challenging. I don't know if it was the Realm or Gretta who said, you have to love them, but you don't have to like them. And that made it much more palatable for me.
But it's in the Bible. Isn't when Jesus crucified, he had the thief on one side and the other person on the other side?
Well,
that's the whole same thing to me, from my perspective. It's saying don't judge.
I honestly don't believe that was a true story, so I can't.
I don't believe in it. Well,
it.
I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying for those out there in the audience, when we're talking about forgiving somebody that murdered, or just recognizing that they are the force also, a lot of stuff is right there in that Bible, and metaphors and allegory, all kinds of stuff. So
it's also in the Torah and the Quran. So
yes, it is. Thank you, because I'm not familiar with them, but thank you.
I've delved into all of them all over the world and found out that they're all pretty much the same stories.
And I fell out of all of them because I didn't want to experience.
Me too.
I made a choice. I didn't want to stay in that zone. Person.
You know that religions are just another way of creating variety on this planet.
But also creating separation.
Absolutely. But guess what? That is one of your lessons to learn.
Yeah.
That there is no such thing as separation.
Realm, we've got about 30 seconds left. Would you like to give us any parting words before we say goodbye?
Love yourself.
Okay. Making Contact by Alan Steinfeld, who will be guesting on Shifting Impressions on June 14th. Listeners, we'd love for you to join us, but please don't forget to join us next week.
And
thank you for being part of. Yeah, thank you for being part of this experience until we create each other again.
Once again, thanks for joining us at Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings on TransformationTalkRadio.com. As you have explored today's creation of reality experience with the realm and me, Greta, each of you is being supported by us in further developing the understanding that you are not just an individual existing in linear time and space, but a multi-dimensional force of infinite possibilities who is connected to all. So begin to create the realities you want. Join us every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time and 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Shifting Impressions at transformationtalkradio.com. So long until we create each other again next Friday.